Crypt Crusher.
Chompy, Chompy, Chompy. You're an instant classic when anybody thinks of Skylanders, and you've been in the games for so long. So let's have a look at how you changed throughout all 6 games that you've been in. Let's go. It all started off for the Chompies in the first Skylanders game, Sparrow's Adventure, and they're pretty easy to defeat, getting one hit by any of your Skylanders' damaging moves, and their bite attack is pretty easy to dodge. I'd say it's a pretty good starter enemy, since, you know, it's the first enemy that you fight. And in the chapter after the Chompy arrival, you see the Chompy pods, which basically spawn Chompies out of their mouths, and it's weird, but you just gotta accept it. Nothing really happens to the Chompies until chapter 8, Crystal Eye Castle, where we're introduced to the Crunchers, which act like normal Chompies, getting one shot, but if they manage to bite you, they'll cling on to you, and you'll have to move repetitively to get them off. Pretty cool idea, not gonna lie. On to the second game, Skylanders Giants, we see new Chompies on the first level. These are the Bone Chompies, and work exactly the same as the normal Chompies, except they look much cooler and they're skeleton versions. What's good about Giants and Chompies is you can literally stomp on them as much as you want when you're a giant. A little bit longer into the level, we come across the Root Runners, which are literally just Chompy pods for Bone Chompies. They don't even run. Okay, so it turns out that they can run, so yeah, sorry about that. We're introduced to the Frigid Chompies in Chapter 5, Glacier Gully, and if you get bit by them, they will freeze you and slow you down. Also in Chapter 5, we're introduced to the Enfuego Chompies, which blow up when you get too close to them. But apart from that, they're basically just red Chompies. ChompyBot 9000 makes his debut in Chapter 8, Troll Home Security, and it's just this one little Chompy controlling this huge, ginormous robot mech suit that shoots out tons and tons and tons and tons of Chompies. Pretty awesome, and it's a heck of a lot of Chompies. In Chapter 7, Willikin Village, we encounter the Chompy Mage, who can transform into a giant Chompy, and clues in the name, he likes Chompies. And if you're not a Chompy, then he immediately doesn't like you. That's kind of, you know, it's kind of his thing, apparently. It's kind of funny, actually. But anyway, once you defeat him, you think that he's gone for good, but man, were you wrong. I think we'll be seeing him a little bit later in the video. To Swap Force, in Chapter 1, Mount Cloudbreak, we're introduced to a slightly more cartoony, cute-looking Chompy than the scarily realistic ones in the first 2 games. I think that this was kind of an improvement, because they did look pretty horrifying. Also in the first chapter, Mount Cloudbreak, we see a more cartoony looking Chompy pod, even though they didn't look that scary in the first one. It just kind of makes sense with the cartoony Chompies. In Chapter 4, Rampant Ruins, we see Chompy Rustbuds, which are exactly the same as normal Chompies, except they look like robots. Like, come on, they could have done something pretty cool with these guys. This type of Chompy doesn't actually have a name, but it looks like a pirate, and whenever it tries to bite you, it also gives a little swing of its cutlass. It makes its attack a little bit harder to dodge, but overall, still fairly easy to dodge. In Chapter 6, Motleyville, we're introduced to the Chompy Powerhouse, which is a metal-fisted Chompy, which does a lot more damage than a normal one, but it's still pretty easy to dodge, so, you know. Along with a frosty Chompy pod, in Chapter 10, Boney Islands, we see the Chompy Frostflower, which is exactly the same as the Frigid Chompy from Giants, except it looks cooler and more cartoony, just like the Chompy. In Chapter 11, Winter Keep, we see Chompy Blitzblooms, which are ice skating Chompies that are finally pretty hard to dodge. I mean, did it take you that long to make a harder to dodge Chompy, Activision? Come on, man. At the start of Chapter 14, Phantasm Forest, we're introduced to the Chompy Blitz Blossoms, kind of hard to say, and they target where they're going to jump, and then when they land their jump, it's an explosion, kaboom, and the splash damage makes it fairly hard to dodge them because, you know, explosions kind of go quite far. In Chapter 15, Chaos's Fortress, we see the Chompy Pace Petals, which I dare say are the hardest Chompies in Swap Force, as once you hit them once, they turn into two smaller, faster Chompies. I mean, if that isn't gonna be hard, I don't know what is. In Trap Team, the Chompies are back to normal, like they were in Sparrow's Adventure and in Giants. Don't know why, but to be honest, I don't care. You know how I said that we wouldn't see the last of Chompy Mage? Boom! Chompy Mage in Scalender's Trap Team as the second boss. I mean, if you can count the Gulper. Anyway, I think that this was too hard for the second boss, which was only on level 3 of the game, Chompy Mountain. Kind of makes sense, you know. And even though it starts off fairly easy, you know, just sending out Chompies to do his bidding, even though they're one-shotted, I have to say, man, he is pretty dang tough. They also brought back the non-cartoony pirate Chompy from Swap Force. In Chapter 13, Future of Skylands, we see what I like to call a cosmic Chompy, you know, because you can only see it in the Future of Skylands. And it's a weird silver thing. When it ground pounds, it releases little Chompies, and out of nowhere it turns giant. Like, man, I do not understand this thing's moveset. In Chapter 10, Secret Sewers of Supreme Stink, we see this Chompy, which I like to call the Slime Chompy, and when it jumps into a ball of boiling goo, you know that you're in trouble. In Chapter 16, The Golden Desert, we come across the Bone Chompy once more, but this time he's an actual villain which you can play as when you trap him. And I have to say, he's pretty hard in the battle because now he can cling on to you just like the Cruncher from the start of the video, if you remember that. So yeah, he kind of, you know, he kind of looks better than the original one, obviously, because that was Giants to Trap Team. But apart from that and the fact that he's now a Cruncher, he's basically just the same. The last Chompy thing for Trap Team is the Chompy, which is another villain battle for Chapter 22. Mirror of Mystery. And wow, if you underestimated Chompy, then he's coming to bite you several times in the face, because man, he is so hard to dodge now that he bites so much quicker. Superchargers, no new things, just updated graphics, and the exact same with Imagineers. So it's been a fun video. I do evolution videos every month now, so stay tuned for the next one, and see you guys later.